Let me walk through the first lesson for our first week of Hebrew Syntax and Exegetical Method. Here we have the home page. You can see here I just posted an announcement regarding introducing myself. You can see a little video, so if you want to see what it looked like, go ahead and click on that YouTube link. And then too, I posted already the announcement regarding one of the textbook requirements, the German Bible Study package and the reconfiguring of that package that Logos has put together. So hopefully you got all that information. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on through the course. So let's take a look at week 1 and what you'll be doing this week. This week we'll focus mostly on the Hebrew noun system. Basically, I think Hebrew, you can basically break it down into two systems: the Hebrew noun system, which contains a number of basic elements, and then of course the verbal system, which we'll leave for a later lesson. And also too, you'll begin reading a little bit from Brotzmann's book regarding the history and transmission of the Hebrew Bible, and be introduced to the historical narrative genre. So this week, one of your major assignments is going to be charting the basic elements of the Hebrew noun system, and chapter 5 of the Biblical Hebrew Reference Grammar will serve as a base for that. You'll also be, again, looking at the history of the Hebrew Bible through Brotzmann's textbook. You'll be doing some work in Jonah chapter 1, verses 1 to 10, kind of a basic, simple Hebrew to kind of get you back in the swing of things in terms of translating Hebrew and to discuss some of the basic syntax there. And so that's going to be one of your discussion board and interaction with your peers that you'll be doing this week. And then too, we'll be reviewing the more basic of Hebrew narratives, of genres, the Hebrew historical narrative. And then you'll be getting to work on your paper already by doing translation work in 1 Samuel chapter 17, 1 to 15. And then you'll be applying the visual filter to Logos and seeing what that does with there. So some of the readings, of course, you'll be doing some readings out of the Brotzmann textbook and the Biblical Hebrew Reference Grammar. I have a sample here of the overview of the noun system. So I don't want you to cut and paste and copy just from that, but that gives you an idea of what I'm looking for you to synthesize the content. And you can use other material as well. Some of your things from perhaps your earlier textbooks like Pratico Van Pelt, that's what PVP stands for, or other sources that you have access to, even with perhaps within Logos. Then there's also a reading that you'll be doing about historical narrative and expository narrative, but primarily you'll be focusing on the whole genre concept through the Baylor Handbook of Hebrew, using Dennis Tucker's work on the book of Jonah. And then there's a video that I want you to watch to review the creation of visual filters within Logos. So that way then we are all on the same page, especially for those of you who did not take our Hebrew 1 and 2 in the Moody Theological Seminary. You can create a visual filter and color the Hebrew verbal aspects the same way consistently throughout this course. I want you to introduce yourself in the Blackboard so that way myself and the rest of your classmates can get to know a little bit about you. And there's the assignment. Now this assignment is not due on Friday, it is due next Monday. So you have all week to work on that. You also have the quiz. It's a basic quiz. It's timed, but it's fairly simple. If you read the material and you have a pretty good understanding of what the content is, it is a closed book and time limit of 10 minutes, but the questions are fairly straightforward, multiple choice, matching, true, false. So take that by Monday night. And then the two discussion boards, the translation of Jonah 1 to 10, you should be working on that right away because your first posting of that is due by this Friday night. That way then you have time to interact with your peers, and so you'll be doing that. I want you to come up with the translation of those 10 verses, and then come up with 100 to 150 words of grammatical and syntactical insights, notes, or reasons supporting your translation. And that's, again, pretty wide-ranging, I know, but you can talk about particular constructions. You can talk about the construct chain, or you can mention different things about perhaps verbal aspects and verbal stems. But I want you to be able to stay as close as you can to the more of a wooden-like translation of the Hebrew text, and then interact, like I said, with one of your other the other peers' translations, and make a comment on that. And then too, take a look at the historical narrative profile that I have supplied, and that's in Tucker's book, and be able to kind of work your way through Jonah 1, chapter 1, 1 to 10, and be able to understand how that profile works. And then, of course, the other is, because this is an accelerated course, you need to start working on your exegetical paper right away, and we're going to get you going, do some translation work through 1 Samuel chapter 17, the first 15 verses. And here you can utilize the exegetical guide to kind of help you understand that there's going to be some specialized vocabulary dealing with that particular chapter. And this is just to kind of get you acclimated to what the content is, and also the types of Hebrew constructions and syntax that are present in 1 Samuel chapter 17. So really this is just to kind of get your feet wet with the context of the chapter that you'll be working for your paper. So that's really about it. So look forward to being your guide through this course. And so again, if you have any questions, you can always email me at jcoakley.moody.edu. All right. Thank you.